All right, today I'm going to be talking about masking windows. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how I go about masking windows. There's a lot of different ways, just like there's a lot of different ways to cut in a ceiling line. It is a little bit windy out today. It is pretty cold in the morning. I'm pretty cool on this side. So it's just some tips and tricks how I go about masking. I'm going to be masking this window right here. When I mask, I only carry two different masking products in my trailer when it comes to the rolls that go on paper and film. I use 72-inch masking film and I use 9-inch paper. I don't use any other sizes. I fold up under or add multiple rows of paper if I need to. I don't like to carry a lot of different sizes because then you just got to manage a lot of different products that I don't like to have to worry about. So 72-inch film, 9-inch paper. Typically my maskers, I have a 1-inch tape loaded onto my maskers. Unless I'm masking like on a roof or a fence that is hard to stick to, then I'll put 1.5 inch on my maskers, and it'll typically be frog tape orange. This is frog tape blue, similar to frog tape green, except it's a little less expensive because it has a different type paper product on it, and it has a different release time on it than frog tape green. But if frog tape green is too expensive for you, check out frog tape blue. It's one of my go-to products. I typically mask windows with I don't use production tape when I'm masking windows because the sun eventually is going to hit it on the vinyl. It could be like metal windows, they could be oxidized. The adhesive on your production tape could stick to it. It could pull off the oxidation or pull off the finish on metal windows, etc. So I typically mask my windows with frog tape blue or frog tape green. And if you're going to be letting it set, overnight, it will release the next day a lot easier than a production tape will. So today I'm using frog tape blue inch and 1.5 inch. So I fill in with 1.5 inch. I have inch on my maskers. And one of the reasons why I have inch on my maskers is when you're pulling your masking, there's not as much adhesive because the tape isn't as wide. So it comes off your masker a lot easier, smoother, and faster, and you're not fighting your masker as much. So I just prefer 1 inch on my maskers. I always have maskers with ladder hooks on it so I can have them with me both at all times. If I'm masking the whole side of the house, that's going to require paper or plastic. If I'm just using plastic, just doing windows, I'll just take my paper masker. It'll usually be attached to a ladder, something like that. It'll be with my ladder, so it's somewhere with me. So I'm going to be masking a window right here. I'll show you a small window, how I go about masking this. A little bit breezy. When I was up high, the plastic was catching the wind. It gets a little bit frustrating, but I'll show you some tips how I manage that. We'll see what the wind does. It's kind of calmed down a little bit, but as soon as I get on the ladder, wind picks up. So I take my masking. I'm going to start it off. I'm going to put it on the edge of the window, and I'm going to start off about 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch from the vinyl right here. Tuck it underneath the drip edge right there. I'm gonna press that down, hold it, stretch it out, and I'm gonna get to this end right here. I'm gonna look and gauge. I'm gonna pull it, go, okay, I want it to be about 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch to the end. I'm gonna pull it tight, snap it, and it didn't tear. So if that happens, check my blade. Didn't tear very well. Start it again. So I'm gonna put it about 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch. I'm gonna roll it out. I'm gonna gauge, I'm gonna look. Just take your time, get it right where you want it. Snap it, pulls my line. Now I'm gonna pull this tight, tack it down. Now the wind starts to pick up a little bit. This is what I do. I'll take my 1.5 inch tape. I'm gonna tear off a piece of 1.5 inch tape like this. I'm gonna fold out my mask, my plastic masking, unfold it here. You can see the wind's now starting to kick up. So you can see the wind's kicking up. It wants to blow it away. The side that is blowing it to, I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna pull it down. I'm gonna tack it down. That's gonna hold it. That's gonna keep it from blowing away. It's wanting to blow that direction, so I'm gonna work with the wind. Now I'm gonna take my 1.5 inch. I'm gonna run it down to where I tacked it to, right there. Put it up. Now it's blowing this direction. So I'm gonna take now, go with the wind, this side, I'm gonna grab it, I'm gonna tack it down. So now I've pulled it tight. I'm gonna run masking along my vinyl right here, down right to where I tacked it again. I'm gonna press this to make sure it contacts my plastic everywhere. And I see it's good and tight. So now I've got that all, you know, the wind wasn't too bad. It kind of cooperated a little bit. So now I'm gonna tuck this under. So you have the option of pulling this down, and you can trim it with a knife, but I don't like trimming it with a knife because then that plastic on a windy day is gonna blow away in the wind. So I'm just gonna take and tuck it up. The last thing you want to do is upset the neighbors because your masking and plastic is flying in their yard. So I'm gonna roll it under. I'm gonna hurry up quickly, mask this bottom before the wind catches it and lifts it up. So now I'm gonna tack that on there. So now that's holding it down. So this side, the wind's wanting to lift that up. You can see it's lifting it up a little bit. I'm gonna get another piece of masking, put this on there, tear that corner, fold this corner up like that. I'm gonna press this down, make sure that's good and tight. Now I don't want paint getting on that corner right there. So I'm just gonna fill that corner in because our house is gonna be black. I don't want black paint on my white trim. The corners, I always put a piece on the corner, fill that in, check everything. You can see this could be a leak right there. So I wanna make sure that's good and tight right there. Now I'm gonna fill this end, just like this. So put it on there, and I got a little piece overhanging. I don't have to worry about cutting it. I just lift it up, fold it up, tack it down. I can see it got a little tiny leak right there. One of the tools that you should have when masking is a tough gaff. So this is keeping the tape with me at all times. I don't have to have it in my mouth. I don't have to have it on my wrist. It's available for me whenever I need it. So I can just tear a piece off. I want to make sure this little corner right here is perfect. So again, get that on there, fold this up, tuck it in, and my window is masked. Now that process would actually happen significantly faster if I wasn't videoing, but I was videoing, so the process was a little bit slower. So now I'm gonna check this, make sure. Now, say you had a little spot right there. If that was a spot that needs to be touched up, I can tuck this up underneath there, touch that spot up. Now I'm not gonna have that little black spot on that trim. So that's how I go about masking a small window with plastic. We're gonna move over here, we'll show you a larger window, how we go about masking a larger window with plastic. All right, so we've got a larger window, and I'm gonna see if I can actually reach from end to end to mask this window. Once again, I'm gonna get up on my ladder, begin masking, 72-inch masking film, a masking blade. All my maskers have the film blades on them. I don't have interchange blades. I don't use the paper blades for anything. My paper maskers and my film maskers have the sharp film blades. Tough gaff, so I got my tape with me at all times. I'm gonna get up on the ladder and begin. Looks like I might be able to reach from end to end. So I'm gonna reach over here, start about a 1/4 inch from the end. You don't want it to be any farther out this way than a 1/4 inch because you want your 2-inch or your 1.5-inch tape to be able to go from your window to your plastic. I'm gonna get it up underneath here, underneath my drip metal. So I can get over here, I'm gonna measure off about, want it to end up about a 1/4 inch, you know, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch right in that area. So you can see it's about a 1/4 inch. I'm gonna tack this down. Now, my wind, the last window I was doing, the wind was blowing this direction. So we'll see where it catches my plastic. It starts to lift it up. So the wind's pushing it up against the window. So I'm gonna move over to this side. It hasn't picked it up yet, so I'll quickly grab it, tack it down before the wind catches it and lifts it up in the air. So far the wind's been cooperating. So you can see I've got about 3/4 of an inch from my window to my plastic. If it's out too far, you're gonna have to run multiple rows of tape. Wind's cooperating still, so I'm gonna run my tape down. I'm gonna get it a perfect line right on the edge of that window. Press it down. Now I'm gonna move down because I got a larger window. I gotta work on and off of a ladder. I'm gonna pull this over, pull it tight, tack it down, and fill this in. The wind is blowing that direction a little bit. As soon as I started these windows, it kind of calmed down a little bit, which is nice. So I'm gonna check that, make sure there's no leaks. I'm gonna come over to this side. I'm gonna pull this down. Now I can pull it, because I'm down on the ground, I can pull it tight all the way down to the bottom, and I'll work from the bottom up. So I'm gonna come across, tack that down. So now I've got my extra, so we got our extra hanging out. I'm gonna tuck that up underneath, just sitting it up, way up inside. Now I'm just gonna roll it down. I'm gonna roll it down to right at the bottom where my tape will touch the window and the plastic at the same time. So again, the wind is cooperating, so I'm gonna show you typically what I'll do is I'll come here, I'll touch my plastic on there, now I'll raise it up to the line I want it to. So I'm gonna touch the plastic, it's gonna tack onto the tape. Now I'm gonna find that line. Now it's good. Now I'm gonna grab it inside, make sure it's tacked all the way. The corner, I'm gonna pull the corner over, so the corner needs to be filled in here. Corner needs to be filled in here. I could pull this tape out right here. So when I pull the tape, I'm gonna tear it. I've got a nice corner right here. I'm gonna put that down on there, and then the part that's overhanging, I'll fold it up. And I can straighten the opposite side. So you can use a knife and trim it with a knife. I just like doing it just by tearing pieces of plastic. Fill the corner in, make sure there's no leaks right there, and you're good to go. This side, same thing. I'm gonna tear, this corner wasn't as sharp that I tore, but it'll work. I'll make it work. I'm just gonna fold this up, just like that. So now I got a hole right here. We wanna fill that hole in. Make sure that it's touching the plastic everywhere. It's tight, everything, all of our leaks are gone. No leaks. We've got one more side right here. You gotta come up on the ladder. I'm gonna extend it up a little bit. It's gonna tuck underneath that drip edge. Just like that. So now this is all good to go. This window, this house is all one color, monochromatic. It's a green-black color. We're gonna spray the whole entire thing. We're gonna spray it and then pull the masking. We wanna make sure there's no leaks. Check it out. Everything's tight. You don't see anything. Looks good. There's a window masked with plastic. A little bit cool weather. It's probably in the low 40s and a little bit breezy. Right now I'm going to show you using green frog tape masking. Sometimes I use green or blue. The green frog tape, well, just one thing I'll say about it is the green frog tape, the adhesive, it feels like it's not as aggressive as the blue frog tape, so it feels like it does come off the masker a little bit easier. So when you're stretching it out, it doesn't have as much drag. So I really like green frog tape for masking windows. I'm gonna mask a slider right here, so you have the option of going up and pulling this direction, or you can go down and fill in with paper. On a windy day like this, I could go, it's really hard. It feels like the wind's going this direction. If I went from top to bottom, pulled it that direction, it might work. But right now, just masking in the wind, I like to just go from top to bottom. I'll fill in the bottom with paper, you know, and the bottom strip right here, we're spraying this all one color. The bottom, I'll just hand roll it. So wind's picking up. We'll see how it goes, you know, masking it with plastic now. I'm gonna reach over, get that about 1/4 inch. Got some wind picking up. Let's see how this goes. I'm gonna reach over, get this within about 1/4 inch, hold it tight, snap it really quick, get yourself, you know, a nice straight line torn. Press this down. Now I'm gonna switch, I'll pull it down, figure out which way my wind is coming from. So far I can't tell, so I'm gonna come over here. We'll just go with this side, see what happens. So I'm gonna pull it down, tack it. Depending on how windy, you'll tack it shorter distances. So it's on there, wind's starting to pick up there. Just like that. Yeah, it looks like wind is blowing, you know, this direction right now. See, I'm gonna take a piece of tape, pull it tight. See, the wind wants to pick it up. Pull this down, pull it tight, just like that. Things tight. I'm gonna come over here, work with this side before it lifts it up. I'm gonna grab this, tack it down. It's gonna hold it. It's like that. The wind's going that direction, so I'm gonna pull this down, take a piece of tape, and tack it down right here. Pull it down tight. We'll tack it all the way down the bottom. Wind's not too bad today. You see, I'll take this, just grab it, pull it tight. Get this line straight. Now, being a sliding glass door, the rest of that, you know, we've got spraying down here, spraying top. You know, if you're concerned about overspray on there, I can just run paper right here, hand roll the bottom, or I can just run another row of plastic and drop it down. I can run, if the wind is blowing this direction, I can run plastic this direction, do this. Now I can just take just like this, right there, tack that right there. Just tuck this under right here. Now, if the masking isn't coming up, I'm trying to push it down to touch it on there. If you have to, just run another row to get it to touch that plastic. Run this over here. We don't want overspray going down inside there. That's all protected. I'm gonna come across the bottom. Having a hard time seeing a line on the bottom. The caulking's white, the window's white. My eyesight's not good, getting old. One more row. So if I mask this 100%, then I can actually just spray that bottom and not actually have to brush and roll it. So it all depends on, your preference, what you think is faster. So all looks good. Looks like we got a couple holes right there. So if you see any holes that your masker blade poked in, just make sure you fill those in. Right here, this line, if you got any lines that need to be straightened up, just want to make sure that line is perfect. So now I can actually just shield that, shoot that bottom. That window is all masked 100%. So I got one more scenario to mask, with our plastic in the wind. It's not too windy today. It's been kind of going up and down, but I'm gonna be masking this door. This door's already been painted right here. I don't want to get overspray on the doors. This door jamb right here is going to be hand painted, hand brushed and rolled. So I'm just going to cover this up because I don't want to get overspray on the door itself. So I'm just going to drop plastic, down this door. So just roughly, wherever you can tack it to. The door jamb, the primer's all coming off, so the tape might have a hard time sticking down there, but I'll just fill it in with paper. You can see the wind picking up, wants to blow my masking away, but I'm not going to get frustrated. I can just grab it anywhere right here in the middle or so, tack that down quickly before it starts blowing around again. I'll just tack that down, tack it down over here. The opposite side is already been painted, so I don't have to worry about that as much. Just tack that down right there. I'm going to tack this over here. See the wind's blowing it around a little bit. It's all right. Just like that. Now that door's protected. We don't want anything down here getting on the door itself. We're going to just spray to this corner and that's it. So that's where I would have my paper masker. Typically I have both maskers with me. Paper masker. It's going to go on here just like this. Go down, and now that's going to protect that. I'll tack the paper down on the ground. This, tack it right here. Now that's going to protect it. If you're concerned, with overspray, once again, if you're not, as good with an airless sprayer, you're concerned about that. Once again, you can protect the whole entire thing if you want to. Just throw some, tack some paper on there. You can tack this down right here. And now that's protected. That's what the masking of windows with plastic looks like in some mild wind.